Kneeling position, block between the thighs, knees, feet, hip distance apart. Now squeeze the block to rise. Arms are straight out ahead. At the top, we cactus to lengthen, and then we push those arms out straight again as we resist, again, squeezing into that block on the way down. Now squeeze the block to rise. You're gonna feel the difference there. It's a different way of lifting, and you're gonna target different areas and different muscles. So we rise, cactus, lengthen. At the top, really keep squeezing the block even at the top. We're not really opening into a bend so much as opening into length, and then resist back. So we're pressing this imaginary wall away from us. There's a slight rounding that happens, and we keep squeezing the block on the way down as well. Inhale, rise, squeeze, exhale, resist, push, and lower. Remember, initiate. Chair position, we've got the block against our quads and in between our forearms and our quads. We're going to transfer the weight over to the right foot, release the left leg, tap it back, a really loose lunge position, and then right back. Reestablish center, then transfer the weight over to the left, releasing the right leg to gently tap back into a lunge-like position, and then bring it forward. So you should be feeling this sort of hollowing in the low belly, creating kind of a suction type of lock there at the low spine so that we can transfer one leg back but keep the block still maintained between the remaining leg and forearms. So that stability and that control in that locking and neutralizing of the lumbar, the low spine. Starting in bridge position, we're gonna have our arms overhead. And we're gonna lift those hips up to kind of a neutral position. Feel that suctioning and length happen all along the front edge of the spine, and this shortening happening at the back to lift and support that length. We lower against applied resistance, resisting gravity. Feel each vertebrae melt down onto the mat, so we're really flattening out the spine and even tucking the tailbone at the bottom. And then we start again, lifting the hips, each vertebrae at a time, finding that length, feeling that security and length happening along the entire length of the spine, and then bringing it on back down with the arms overhead, observing the different sensations that are occurring with that positioning and the interesting sort of sensation of your skin stretching. Forearm plank, nice and strong. Lower those hips, nice straight long line. Pull that entire length of that front line up and against the spine. Keep that as we lower the hips. We sink into a very active Sphinx. Pull the shoulder blades back and down and the shoulders round and down, and then lift back up, curling up and out. Low belly lifts up to meet the spine, the hips. Nice straight strong forearm stand, and then again resisting down, keeping everything nice and strong and secure, holding that active Sphinx, and then really opening at the top. Use the traction of the forearms pulling back against the mat to enhance that opening in Sphinx, and then with power we zip it all up and lift back to that forearm stand. Resist gravity on the way down. Use that Immediately block between the thighs, push into the block. It will lift you. Open into length with cactus arms. Push those arms back to straight, resist, and also squeeze the block on the way down. Start with squeezing the block to initiate that lift up, cactus arms, adding to that length at the top, push away and resist, squeeze the block on the way back down. Again, initiate the movement by squeezing the block. That will start to lift you. Cactus arms lengthen at the top, and then push away and resist and squeeze on the way back down. This is our final day of the healing series, but you can always start it over and also use each day as a warm-up when you enter the building series. You pick a healing day to warm up with. Chair, you've got that block between quads and forearms. Transfer the weight first to the right. Step back, the left legs, that loose lunge position, and then back to center. Get centered, and then switch sides. Use your breath. Sink the hips a little when you return to neutral. And again, suction engage that low belly. Lock in the lumbar spine for stability here to maintain the positioning of the block between forearms and remaining leg. Check back in at neutral, sink the hips. So we start to curl, tuck the tailbone to lift the hips. Then one vertebrae at a time, we come to that straight line bridge, and we feel the length of tightening and security here, the stretching of the skin with the arms overhead, and then we slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. We just gently graze the pelvis, never fully releasing, then we bring it right back up. This is one of my favorites, and I love the different sensations you experience throughout this movement. It's just yummy. Nice, strong forearm stand, melting down, but actively and with resistance at the bottom. Use that traction of the forearms against the mat. Pull those elbows towards the feet. And then again, power up, Terminator up. Use all those stabilizing muscles. Come to that nice, straight, strong line and resist back down. Active Sphinx, even as the pelvis hits the ground. And we expand in the shoulder region, the chest. We still keep that core active and engaged, ready to come right back up into our strong forearm stand. Use that breath to fuel the movements. Send oxygen to the muscles. Final round, we got the block squeezing between our thighs. Arms come up, we lift by squeezing the block, expand into cactus at the top to lengthen. Then we push away, squeeze the block and resist back down. Squeeze the block to initiate that movement. Cactus arms, add to the lengthening at the top. Keep squeezing the block and then push the arms forward and resist back down. Keep squeezing. This is our final round, our final day of the healing series. That doesn't mean that you have to move forward into the building part. You can do this series as many times as you need to feel comfortable and ready to move forward to building. And when you do move forward to building, use one day of healing, pick whichever one you want, and use it as your warm-up for your building day. That's how this is going to work best. Chair pose, block in between, forearms and quads. Sink the hips, suction, engage the low belly, transfer the weight over to the right, step back with the left. Bring it back to neutral, sink the hips again, secure, and then take it to the other side. Keep breathing through the movements. Keep checking in when you come back to center, adjusting any sort of mechanics that you can, any sort of posture adjustments that you can. Take that with you into the next transition, come back. You always have so many chances to reassess, to re-engage, to re-tap into that structural integrity, and then apply the movement. Bridge, arms overhead, rounding, tucking, and then we start to lift pelvis, then one vertebrae at a time, feeling that secure length at the top, that skin stretching sensation along the sides, and then we slowly lower against gravity using that resistance. Gently come down, but don't release all the way. We come right back up. Nice and buttery and smooth, but strong. I love this feeling right here at the top. We're long, we're secure, we're tight. And then we bring that all back down, but we don't let go of it. We maintain it. Feeling each little step along the way. We've really, really tapped into this internal awareness at this point. So it's kind of fun to explore that and see how deep you can dive into that. Forearm stand, and then lowering into that active sphinx. Traction, pull the skin of the forearms back, opens the shoulders, opens the chest. And then coming out, securing the belly up to the spine, and then lifting into that nice, strong, flat plank position. Resisting gravity on the way down. We keep all of that intact. We never let go of that lengthening, but securing the entire length of the front and back line against the spine. This is our last exercise for today. The last exercise in the healing series. So good job. Congratulations. You're almost there. Don't forget, keep doing these. Repeat the series, but also use a healing day as your warm-up for building.